Now, this is the super fight we've all been waiting for. You guys excited? All right, let's do this. All right, so we have two former UFC champions here. Two UFC Hall of Famers, two personal friends, training partners. Very, very happy. First, we're gonna be calling out in the black corner, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Mir. And his opponent in the white corner, also fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Please give it up, ladies and gentlemen, Forrest Griffin.
So right away,
this is. I thought Forrest was going to pull off, like, what was that guy's name that he did in the UFC? Pulled his pants off in the UFC? I think, what is Forrest doing? Yeah.
I can look at his tearaway pants. That's great.
Oh, man. Dude, Forrest is a goofball. You got to love him.
Dude, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I believe that wrestling is going to be a key part of this.
I wouldn't be surprised if Forrest pulls guard, though. Like,
Go back.
Would be, you know.
Here we go.
All right, so we can all expect Forrest to be moving a lot more than Frank. Frank is like more of the powerhouse. If he grabs you, it hurts. Just every time he grabs you, it hurts. Forrest is just straight out aggressive, all nonstop. Like the more we get into the fight, the more aggressive Forrest becomes. Right?
He's looking for that Russian 2-1.
Yeah.
That's the second time.
And he said he wasn't wrestling.
Hand fighting, and again, look, he keep looking for that Russian 2-1. It's a good grip because again, your opponent doesn't really have much to work with, and you got all sorts of takedowns here.
Forrest with the single attempt there, lots of head fighting. Frank Mir looks very relaxed. He definitely has the weight advantage here. This is going to be a battle of like power versus Forrest with the aggression, endurance. No, Frank with the double.
Nice double leg, very well timed.
Yeah, 2 points. And Dave, I was trained extensively with Forrest. It's very hard to pass his guard. You know, like you think people think, oh, these big guys can't play guard. Like you got to train with Forrest. His guard is a nightmare to pass. But Frank is heavy, man. He's weighing. It's got to be walking in around. I'm gonna guess what 300, 320, 20 maybe.
I don't know, but he's a big boy.
Big dude. And very athletic. Frank's got to be one of the most talented people I've ever trained with. Like this guy. Remember that first time he fought Big Nog?
Yes.
And he dropped him with that up jab. He literally learned that sequence like 2 weeks before the fight. Someone showed it to him. Oh, I like that move, and he dropped him like 3 times with the same combo. Like he's just like his brain is just like a sponge. I've never seen very few people I've ever trained with were that talented. You know, like Vitor Belfort was one, BJ Penn is the other. But Frank is definitely one of those guys. He just has a talent for, you know, absorbing information.
He's very explosive too. I think out of anybody on this planet, I wouldn't want Frank having a submission on me. He's broken more bones in the UFC.
No, it's the thing is with Frank when you train with him, like, you know, you have to tap way before it hurts. Like he's going for the submission. Sometimes preemptively tap. Forrest with good balance there. Frank with a takedown. Forrest with the back take. That could be 2 points. Forrest, I believe, because he's in draw position. The ref's not scoring it though. He's going to count it as a defense. Frank is up by 2 points. We're approaching the middle of the first round, halfway through, and Forrest just lets him stand back up. I'm surprised he did that. I feel that Forrest was that's a dominant position for him. Attacking Frank's back. That was a good position for him.
For sure.
Forrest was asking me yesterday, like, is it okay if you get someone's back to get slammed? I was like, well, you think Frank's going to get your back? Like, oh, no, I'm just where I get his back, he slams me. It always reminds me of that Rico Rodriguez-Marcelo Garcia fight where Rico just jumps with Marcelo on his back and just like, oh, man, that was brutal.
Yeah, that back sumo splash.
Oh.
You know, he just had to wait, and that rule said it was a foul. If he would have just let Marcelo grab his neck.
But that's not illegal, though. They stopped the fight, remember. That's technically, like, slams in ADCC are legal.
Well, actually, they said...
Oh, nice attempt there by Frank with that knee block.
Yeah. This has been good back and forth here with the wrestling battle. I really want to see what Forrest is going to use the 2-on-1 for, though. Because he's going for a lot, so obviously he's been working and then he must have a move, but he hasn't executed the second step yet. He gets the grip, but he hasn't gone for the finish. And now he's digging for underhooks. But one thing, I don't like underhooks on a big guy because their whizzer is so
Yeah,
strong.
I know. I should turn it out with that. Oh, nice shot there by Frank. To the single, runs the pipe. Good. Forrest is very hard to. Forrest is overall badass athlete, man. He's just one of those guys, and he's got the heart of a lion. It's one thing this guy's known for, is for not being a quitter, man. This guy will die before he quits.
Yeah.
Right. And I've had the privilege to watch this guy have wars with Vanderlei Silva in the gym, and I'm thinking to myself, just for a pay-per-view event. It's they could be making millions of dollars, yet they're killing each other in the gym. They're not really getting paid; they're just going to war. But he just has no quit in him.
No, I mean that was evident.
Oh! Yep.
He went for that flying arm.
Yeah, he did. It's not something you see for Forrest Griffin. Forrest has actually got a very good guard, man. He's very. Look at those grapevines there.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those. Sometimes.
Way to neutralize a big heavyweight, right?
Yeah. He's got back into a closed guard, double wrist control. Normally people here are looking triangles, maybe omoplatas when they're, and they're out there. There's omoplata. But he didn't put a lot of commitment behind it.
Well, yeah, the thing is, Frank is one of those guys where, people, he's obviously known for his jiu-jitsu, but he's a very technical guy for someone his size. He's a. Yep, time. I forgot about the time there.
Yeah.
Why Forrest is local? What's going on there?
I thought you goofed or something.
Yeah.
He was playing around. Good first round, though.
Excellent.
Some
I
good
think
wrestling.
they went out to the opposite corners. Frank went to the white corner and. Oh no! Yeah, no, he's in his corner. Never mind.
I wanted that better. I need that. More of that's better.
So let's see now. It looks like, let's watch this replay here. Frank was going for that inside trip, but Forrest was able to capitalize, and then there was that flying armbar attempt. There wasn't a lot on that, but he went for it. You got to give him credit for that.
Absolutely.
Now, what do you think Forrest has to do in this round, too?
I think he's doing a good job, man. I think Forrest is he lost the first round. Forrest is complaining about Frank's size. But you got the cardio advantage though, man. You got to push that. Everyone knows that. But Frank is a beast, man. You can't. He grabs you. That was. I actually mentioned that here.
Yeah.
If you guys, I don't know if you guys can hear Forrest, but we were being Forrest. We were just going back and forth strategy here on.
Yeah, he was
Frank.
lamenting not taking the back, and he had the opportunity. But there's still plenty of match left.
Yeah. Frank is just an overall animal, man. He could have been. He's just one of those guys. He could have been a power lifter and could have killed it. He's just one of those guys. And I train a lot with Frank, man. And like I said, you got to tap way before it hurts, Dave. Don't give him. Don't let's not going to wait till it hurts to tap. No, that's just stupid.
Yeah, if people haven't seen him in his UFC fights, in his first match when he was a short notice fighter, fought Roberto Travin, who was a jiu-jitsu world champion, and broke his arm.
Yeah.
And literally broke it, not figuratively.
Forrest actually fought him too a long time ago. Some grappling match back in the day. But no, Frank is you cannot underestimate him, man. I always remember that. How many times has he done this? You think, he's just cruising along, and then he pulls off something. It reminds you of Fedor a lot too. Fedor has that, right? You think he's knocked out, you think he's done, and just pulls off something incredible at the end.
And the clutch.
Yeah.
When you have that power or that submission ability where you can always win, that's a good thing to have.
So Forrest pulled a little too soon, I'm under the impression. I wonder if the ref's going to give two. Or if he's considering a guard pull.
Yeah,
Nope, nothing.
No.
He gave the two. 2 points, Frank. So Frank is up by 2 points now.
Yeah, that was a miscalculation there by Forrest.
Forrest is just the problem is Frank is one big guy. Yeah, that is the problem.
Forrest is working 2 jobs, commentating and his own fight himself.
Is it funny if you have given him Mike, he would have been talking about the fight here, during his break. He probably would have loved that.
Frank's putting some pressure here. He's hunting for that Kimura. And now, full disclosure, I have worked with Frank on the Kimura trap himself.
Yeah, well, I don't do that, Dave. Like, I think his Kimura is deadly enough for the sake of our shoulders. Stop teaching Frank Mir Kimuras.
Not like I need to, because if people remember, he broke off Minotauro's arm with a Kimura.
Yep.
So he's already really good at it.
Oh, Frank with the knee block there.
Nice. And he's doing great timing with all of his takedowns, if you notice. He hasn't forced anything.
No, he's been very, yeah, the timing's been flawless. Like, he understands, too, that, if he tries to keep up with Forrest's movement pace, he's going to get tired. He knows that, right? So the way to do it is just to pick your moments. And Frank has always been like that he picks his moments, and when he goes, he goes. Right. Forrest with the butterfly there. Remember when Forrest beat Tito the second time? He won with a butterfly sweep. I remember that because we were working on that sweep right before that fight. And
he's being very active.
yeah, with that arm drag there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Again, I want to see him use this though, because he keeps getting this Russian 2-1, but he's waiting on it. I'm not sure if he wants Frank to do something first, maybe move into him or whatnot.
Hard to say.
I always tell people, when you get a tie-up, you got to use it. If you just hold on to it, it doesn't really do much.
Oh, nice. Forrest with the wrestling there. Showing some good wrestling. And fighting, but you're right. He's not committed. The thing is, like, it's kind of scary to shoot on a guy like Frank. I'll tell you why. You get stuck underneath him. You're underneath Frank Mir, weighing, 300-plus pounds. What do you call that single where you kind of cut the corner and you shoot that single?
A sweep single?
Sweep single.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's the one that you want to do. Like, in general,
with
single
a
legs,
heavyweight, right?
you go against heavyweights because you're fighting balance instead of power hips.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
good way to put it.
Because that's my shot of choice, because I've done tons of absolute divisions. I'm generally the smaller guy. So I'm always a smaller guy in every absolute I've done. A sweep single or even just a regular head inside single is the only way you can really take someone down without having to worry about getting squashed.
Yeah.
So I was curious because the Russian 2-1 is a good position to hit that because you already have the arm that would overhook you out of the way.
I wonder if he's like timing it maybe towards the end of the round and just trying to win that round that way. But he's down by 4 this round. So that means the first round was a 10-9. This round is looking like a 10-9 so far. Means Forrest needs a 10-8. Means he needs to score 7 points on Frank or a submission. He's got 50 seconds left in this round to do it. He's got another 5 after.
Yeah, and I think he definitely, what I'm seeing now, he's pushing a lot more pace. Maybe he's hoping he can get Frank tired and then in the third round try to get a finish in. Because right now Frank's been pretty defensive here. He's not working too much, but like you said, he just waits for a good opportunity and then counter takedown.
Yeah. And he's been playing that strategy really well. A good inside head fight there.
Yeah. That is key.
Oh, Forrest with that knee block. It's just hard to move. Frank. With the body lock, maybe. Yeah, Frank is hard to move, man.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Like, I wouldn't be tying up upper body with him.
What's the strategy here, Dave?
Like I said, I think single legs.
I agree.
He's had a couple bites on it, but he needs to use that same upper body setups, but then go snatch single.
End of the second round. Frank looks like he's breathing hard.
Yeah. So at this point now, Forrest has to push the pace. He's been doing a good job of it, though.
Yeah.
And
no, he's the thing is, like, Frank's been really smart about taking his time and waiting for the right moment to,
explode and get the takedown. Yeah.
Which, if I had to guess, is exactly his strategy coming into this fight.
But you can see Frank's pretty heavy in that stool there, so this might be the time now, if you're Forrest, to go even harder.
And remember, this is a 90-second break in between rounds. That was my suggestion. The reason I did that, Dave, is I believe that with a longer break, performance increases, and that's what the audience wants to see. So you wait an extra 30 seconds, and yeah, you get that, that better 5 minutes, right? The more, 5 minutes with more intensity. So.
Exactly, because if we're doing rounds, the idea is that we want harder performance. I think the difference is sprints.
All right, Frank. So Forrest is saying Frank is the one playing defense.
I agree with you there. He has been playing a little defense. He's been counter-fighting more than anything.
Yes, counter. I agree. I agree.
But yeah, with the round format,
He's trying to bait him for a footlock so he can come up. Yeah, that's a good thing. So Forrest is telling us his plan is to bait Frank Mir and go for a footlock so he can get up, get the 2 points, and be on top. That'll be the ideal scenario. And the question is Frank going to go for that? Like, if Frank is going to see that coming.
well, hopefully he's not listening. He just gave away the plan. Here we go. They're rushing 2-on-1 again. You see, when you have that rush, oh, you headlock here. But one thing that Frank's been doing really good.
Forrest with that double. Yeah, it's like it's not just that Forrest can't get in there. It's just that Frank is an animal on top, man. Like, you know, it's to wrestle. Like, how do you out wrestle Frank Mir? You know, especially with he's got a 40, 50-pound advantage on Forrest, probably more.
Yeah, but like you said, the thing is, fighting a double on someone that big is really hard, you know, especially as skilled. Like, I think the singles have to be the key in there. Because even these upper body clinches are, although Forrest got a long grip, so he can make this work, you know. If you inside trip is another good takedown, the big guy. You want to always look for balanced attacks.
Yeah.
You see, there's a snatch single. Now he's got to run it all, but that guillotine came in.
Yeah.
And you see the head came down a little bit too much, you know, like it's hard to get a perfect shot. But when your head starts to, your chin starts to get towards your chest, you open up the guillotine opportunity there.
Yeah.
But it's easier to save sitting down here than being on the mats there.
No, Frank is rough to train with, man. Like, he does, like I said, he's very hard to move in general. Wrestling-wise, sweeping-wise, he's very hard to sweep and can't blink.
And you can see Forrest is putting a lot of effort. He's doubling up on his wrist.
No,
and
Forrest,
trying
when
to
it comes to aggression, like, I don't know anyone. I don't think I've ever seen, now that I think about it, a guy that weight class who can move as much as Forrest. Like, he's almost like a lightweight almost, like as much as he doesn't stop moving the whole fight.
Yeah.
It's very rare that someone in that weight class can do that. The heavier you are, obviously gravity's pulling you down the whole time. But Forrest just, man, he's just like naturally gifted cardio, it seems like. He just moves nonstop.
Yeah.
And I actually have one of my fights was like very close to Forrest fights. We did a camp together, and I thought, I'll keep up with him. He never gasses out, right? Man, he's something else. He's an intensity of his training, and you know how much he commits to how good his conditioning is in practice. It's very difficult to keep up with him.
So another single leg attempt that got squashed there, and Forrest went to pull guard again. So he's been going for more singles, but he's leaving his head down and he's getting caught in headlocks. And every time he does that, Frank's able to shut down that shot. So like you said, the sweep single would be ideal in this case, because when you do a sweep single, you end up more behind your opponent.
Exactly.
So when they sprawl, they actually give up their back.
It's almost like an ole, right? Like, you know, the bull was right at you and just ole him out of the way.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, the guy would be sprawling, thinking you're going to be underneath him when he sprawls. Oh, Frank with that half guard. And, you know, with the sweep single, you cut that angle so you're closer to the back. You're exactly right. And then, you don't have like a heavyweight sprawling on you.
One of my best takedowns against a big heavyweight was Jeff Monson, and there was a sweep single that scored, and he sprawled, and when you sprawl in the sweep single, you end up giving up your back, and I was able to get the top position. So something like that is what Forrest is going to have to work here, because he's been having a hard time. Oh, Frank pulls guard, and he got the double.
Wasn't expected.
Work it, Frank.
So this makes it interesting now. Forrest has got his opportunity to work from top. 0-0 here. As you said, Frank has a dangerous half guard. You know, he scored one of those famous submissions.
He
that
is
overhook.
very dangerous from half guard. I will say, I'm not going to mention names here, Dave, but I think you know what I'm talking about. People that normally don't tap from joint locks. The only time I've ever seen them tap from a joint lock was training with Frank Mir and got into his half guard and got knee barred from the bottom.
Speaking of knee bars.
Oh, Forrest, Frank with the sweep. Beautiful performance, both these guys. 2 points, Frank Mir. And Forrest just had to do what he had to do. He has to go for that kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to go for that submission. Frank with the fifth footlock. It's funny because Forrest mentioned that's exactly what he was baiting Frank to do. He just couldn't come up in time. Like, Frank was smart enough to come up quickly.
Frank has been very good, like, with his timing. You know, that's something as you get older, if you have great timing, you don't need to be fast. You just need to be right on the cue. You know, he's been doing good. He hasn't really got surprised yet. Only that one takedown in the first round where he almost gave up his back. Oh, there we go. He rushed into him when he was looking for that inside trip.
Oh, Forrest with a takedown. 8 seconds, 5 seconds left. 2 points, Forrest.
And that's not going to be enough.
2-2, Frank, get the sweep, get the sweep.
He's looking-
This is the end of round 3. Beautiful. Hey, that was really good, man. These guys didn't stop. That was a very good super fight.
That was well fought.
Both competitors.
Overtime.